Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm News 8 meteorologist Ashley Baylor in the News 8 Now Stream Center. We are making our way through the week here. By this time next week, we're going to be dealing with one of the busiest travel days of the year. And, of course, we have that day and Thanksgiving in our 8-day forecast. But, of course, the one thing that we've been talking about, some much-needed rain finally in the forecast. It has been a minute since we have talked about rain here in Connecticut. But maybe you've been hearing about rain on the other side of the country. You've probably heard the term or come across the term bomb cyclone or atmospheric river. So let's talk a little more about that before I kind of deep dive into our forecast. So here's a look at our satellite and radar that's taking you out towards British Columbia to the Pacific Northwest. You can see that perfect center of rotation there, that area of low pressure, but then you can see this stream of clouds and water coming on shore through San Francisco and into parts of Oregon there. So this is something that they do see, I won't say frequently, but it's not super rare. They may get this 1 or 2 times, sometimes even more, maybe up to 4 times going through the year, and this would be usually the time that we talk about it, or at least start talking about it, because they'll see more in the winter, sometimes in the springtime. So let's talk about it a little bit more. What is an atmospheric river? So similar to an actual river, an atmospheric river is a large, narrow, continuous band of moisture, but it's several thousand feet way up in the sky. So what does that do? So basically, as this band of water vapor gets inland, that moisture actually moves up the mountains. And so as that moisture cools and condenses, it creates clouds. And of course, those clouds produce rain. And if it's cold enough, they're going to produce snow. So depending on the duration, atmospheric rivers can produce heavy snow. They can produce severe flooding, sometimes mudslides. So there's a lot that goes on. These atmospheric rivers, they don't just kind of come and go. They can last for several days. So they can just dump rain, dump snow, and cause serious issues, mostly for California and the Pacific Northwest, which is what they're dealing with right now. In fact, I believe early this morning I saw there were 700,000 people without power in the Pacific Northwest. And by the way, if you come across it or hear it, this is called a bomb cyclone because it essentially bombed out, meaning that the pressure decreased rapidly. So it lost 24 millibars of pressure within 24 hours. You know, a lot of times we've been talking about rapid intensification of hurricanes. Same idea. It drops 24 millibars of pressure within 24 hours. Same here, except it's not a tropical hurricane. It's a different type of low pressure. So here's a look at our satellite and radar composite now, where through the afternoon we've had a lot of sunshine, but you'll notice some high thin clouds starting to move into western Connecticut. You know, this has been another one of those days where we could faintly smell a little smoke in the atmosphere. That was more likely out towards Litchfield and Fairfield County. But last night, the smell was it was terrible last night as soon as that sun went down. And, of course, the temperature started to drop. That's when you noticed it a little bit more. So here's the thing. The smoke is going to kind of disperse as we go into the evening and overnight hours. And, of course, the rain is going to help with any wildfires that are still going on. Notice there's not much wind out there. Winds are calm in many spots, otherwise only ranging between about 5 to 8 miles per hour. So if you're in Litchfield or Fairfield County, I'm sure the smell of the smoke has improved since this morning. But of course, there's still that elevated fire risk, not just here in Connecticut, that extends up through Massachusetts and Rhode Island. I hope tomorrow is the first time I will not have to use this graphic. It'll be the first time in weeks. It is 61 at this hour in Windsor Locks, 56 in Waterbury, 58 here in New Haven, where it's 60 in Lisbon. So once again, another day where temperatures have been running above average. Now, as we go through the evening and overnight hours, the clouds are going to fill in. And after 3 o'clock is when we are going to start to see this rain move in as well. So for the first time in a very long time, I get to say, make sure you have an umbrella as you head out the door. And notice we're not just going to be dealing with light rain here. We do have some pockets of moderate to heavy rain indicated by those splashes of yellows, oranges, and the occasional red splash there too. So we're going to see this consistent, fairly steady rain, which is what we've desperately needed. We don't want to get a lot of rain at once because it essentially just runs off. That consistent, steady rain is what we desperately need. Here's where things get a little more interesting. So the way this area of low pressure is going to pivot around, it's going to pull in some colder air by tomorrow evening. So notice if you're out in Litchfield or Fairfield County, or possibly even up towards Waterbury, Oxford, Southbury, places like that, you may see some wet snowflakes mixing in those raindrops, and it's very possible, especially up in the Litchfield Hills, you may see the full switch from rain over to those wet snowflakes. Now, I'm not super amped about any accumulating snow. The only places we may see any minor accumulations would be in the Litchfield Hills. But, you know, if you're, say, in Kent, New Milford, if you're in Danbury, if you're in Waterbury, I would say you're likely not going to see accumulating snow because the ground is simply too warm for most of that snow to stick. But up in the Litchfield Hills, where the snow may come down at a decent clip, it's very possible that it may start to accumulate on grass and on patios and on decks. I'm not overly optimistic that it would accumulate on the roads. I guess it doesn't need to necessarily be an optimistic standpoint, but I suppose it's good news that it wouldn't necessarily stick on the roads. So turning cloudy tonight, rain developing after 3 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, we're not just going to be dealing with rain. It's also going to be pretty windy, so definitely not the best day to be outdoors, and those temperatures are going to come down as a result. So we are looking at some spotty showers to continue into Friday, again, especially up in Litchfield County, where you may be dealing with that snow a little bit longer. Now, Saturday, mostly dry. I think it's going to be tough to shake the clouds on Saturday, and it is going to be a little bit breezy, so that is going to hold temperatures in the upper 40s to around 50 degrees. Now, Sunday looks a lot better, more of a mix of sun and clouds there. Same Monday, so Sunday and Monday look like a pair of nice days. I am going to throw in a chance of some rain showers as we go from Monday night into early Tuesday morning, but overall on Tuesday we should dry out. And right now we're looking to stay dry for next Wednesday and Thursday. So if you're traveling on Wednesday, if you're traveling on Thanksgiving Day, so far it looks like you should be okay. Now, given that's 7 and 8 days out, certainly things could change between now and then, but here's where I'm going to try and remain optimistic for you, is that at least those 2 days look okay. But if you really wanted to talk about beyond that, I do think it's very interesting that our two main computer models, the GFS, the American model, and the European model, are both showing some decent amount of snow going from next Friday evening on through Saturday morning. So again, that's even farther out. So could things change between now and then? Absolutely. But the fact that our models are in timing and amount agreement this far out, pretty interesting. Definitely going to be one of those that's worth watching. But in the meantime, we keep it light. We keep it moving here. Hope I taught you a little bit about atmospheric rivers and bomb cyclones. I don't want to have to talk about any sort of bomb cyclones here in the Northeast anytime soon, whether it's in tropical form or whether it's just your area of low pressure, your strong area of low pressure. So I'll be back here tomorrow right around the same time. Hope to see you then. Take care.